Interrompemos esse podcast para perguntar: quem você quer ser?
Designer, engenheira, pedagoga,
administrador.
Quer saber? O Senac EAD é nota máxima no MEC. Tem cursos de diversas áreas, com conteúdo elaborado por especialistas do mercado e professores mestres e doutores. Ainda tem o Senac Carreiras, conectando estudantes a vagas de emprego em todo o país. Saiba mais em ead.senac.br/graduação.
I'm Dr. Homebrew.
Clear.
Hey everybody, welcome. It's Dr. Homebrew live at HomebrewCon 2017, which I still think sounds more elegant than 2017.
Is it really? It's 2017.
It's 2017. We've lived this long on the planet in order to make a set of ways to pass time. Let's go all for it. Let's say every word, every syllable we can. Why not?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't
you could say
that?
Y2K17. That'd be weird.
that would be too weird. I think that would be too weird.
It's a flashback now. I don't even want to think about that.
Thank you, everybody, for coming out and hanging out. If you guys want to get closer a little bit, yeah, we got a fan. We got one dude, Danny. He's basically going to be taking up spots for everybody else. He'll be jumping from place to place, going, "That's great," and seeing different questions and all that kind of stuff. Of course, I have Brian Cooper with me here, longtime judge on Dr. Homebrew. Unfortunately, Keith is not here. He couldn't make it out. Something about he can't cross state lines, I think. The judge wouldn't let him.
So instead, we snagged Ned Stark.
That's right.
Winter is coming.
Winter is, and so are the Meads. I think
they're coming too.
We have Al Boyce.
Pleased to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you very much for sitting in. And where are you from? What club are you from?
I'm from the Minnesota Homebrewers Association.
Okay.
Yep. Here in Minneapolis.
Minneapolis. All right. And how long have you been brewing, man?
Oh, gee. How old? 20 years, maybe.
Wow.
I don't know. More than that, probably.
You look like you invented most of the things that most of the processes we do in homebrewing, man. Yeah.
I wrote it down in hieroglyphs. That's right.
Yeah, there you go. So you are a GrandMaster Level 6.
Correct.
I didn't know that there were so many levels to I thought it was like Grandmaster and then you just have liver disease or something.
Well, most of us have liver disease also.
Okay, right.
I think Gordon Strong is out there inventing new levels as we speak.
That's what he's in the lab.
Yeah,
right. We were trying to get him here, but I think he had to be in the laboratory trying
he's
to
working on level 11,
liver.
I think.
Yeah, getting towards 11. Yeah.
When you get to that ceiling, do they just move the rank up? Like, well, instead of 5, now there's 8, and then instead of 8, and then you know what I mean, just to give you a place to go.
No, it's just all about lots of judging, lots of service to the organization.
Grading exams.
There's no ceiling on it so far.
Okay. But you're going to find it.
I'm perhaps not as dedicated to finding it as some.
Are there higher than level 6?
Gordon Strong.
What is he?
Level 10.
Gordon's
level
10.
10. He would be.
Yeah.
He would be.
I'll probably be corrected in the middle of this broadcast. It's he's 12 now or
just
something.
Made it yeah.
I wish
Gordon
Gordon
just got 12 today, I think. No.
Yeah. Well, I think we'd hear a ding.
I think so.
Yeah. When an angel gets its wings or Gordon Strong comes up another level, it's just a bell ring.
They dim the lights here in the conference center in Minneapolis. Gordon Strong has just reached level 36.
I think it's like that from the Pixels movie. You know, you get the little.
Yeah. Everyone goes, "Oh, that's too bad. I can't." But you're also a Mead Judge.
Correct.
And other levels to the Mead judging as well, or
no?
Is that just
right
like
now,
subset?
Mead Judges, you are or you aren't. Yep.
Okay, that seems much more simplistic to me.
It's pass fail.
Okay,
it's just a little stamp.
I would do that.
Yeah, a little additional stamp you get. Okay, you're a Mead Judge too.
Why don't we have that with?
Well, you can be just a Mead Judge too if you want.
You can be just a Mead Judge. Yes, that's
why
true.
don't we have that on the beer side? Just a pass-fail, like either you are or you aren't.
Wasn't set up that way, I guess.
It's the legacy.
It's a good question.
Think about a good tradition.
People have already asked, can't we have levels for Mead Judges too? And so far the answer's been no.
Well, people want achievement levels, right?
Exactly.
Video games are very popular, and that's the thing. You want achievement-based thing. I want to move forward in the deal.
Got to work towards that. Yep.
Yeah, helping your fellow homebrewers is enough. I need awards. I need things.
Bling.
No, I mean me personally. I need a lot of awards. Right. Anyway, we are here live at HomebrewCon. I do before we get any further, I do want to thank our sponsor, 5 Star Chemicals. You guys been by the 5 Star booth? I love the ladies at 5 Star. They're here. and they're here to help you make better beer. And by doing that, you're going to clean and you're going to sanitize. You're going to do it in 2 steps. We talk about this on the show all the time. You have to clean it, and you have to sanitize. Danny knows.
Someone go get him to sanitize and clean my glass. I drank something really gnarly last night.
What was it? Anything good?
Mostly sours, yeah.
Yeah?
No, just kidding.
Danny's going to do it.
That was a joke. My attempt. You get beer. I'm good. I just rinsed it.
You're going to get beer, dude.
Oh, okay, sure.
Yeah. So
right.
thank you to 5 Star for allowing us to be here. They've been a sponsor of this show from the jump, and they're nice people. And everybody who comes on the show gets a little prize pack from 5 Star, and they're really good about doing that. So why wouldn't you send in beer? If you want to be part of the show, email me, jp@thebrewingnetwork.com, and we'll get you set up. So what do we have today, Brian?
We have an M2E, a melomel with raspberry and rhubarb from actually my brother Jimmy, who we'll introduce here shortly. But
okay.
And we also have an alternative grain beer. We're calling it. It's a Minnesota Wild Rice Ale with an American Brown Ale as the base. So
excellent.
Yeah, some interesting stuff here. It's not your typical 2 IPAs and we're done show.
Great.
No.
Here's 2. Yeah, right.
The
Here's
brewers are getting creative. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
Well, and we've had Mead on the show before, and you and Keith have been at a loss to properly describe
We've done a sad attempt at trying to analyze people's mead, and so I'm so glad we have Al here to help us out, man.
Me too,
I can add my sad attempt to classify people's mead.
And so you have your brother in town.
So that makes it even harder, and I have to judge his mead and be objective here. And
should we separate you two?
We've been cruising around. We went to New Glarus and did the full 3-hour tour of both of their locations at the brewery there.
3-hour tour.
They have a beer, bacon, and cheese festival, and on the side, a polka festival.
So that you guys were in heaven.
It was.
Why would you leave?
This little Swiss town with beer. I felt like I was in Europe dancing the polka and the waltz. It was with a lot of
your
beer,
brother.
A lot of sour New Glarus beers, man.
Were you dancing with your brother? Because that would have been.
No, with his girlfriend.
Okay.
I borrowed his girlfriend for a while. She's cool.
Wow. You guys are a close family. I like that.
Susie's a nice gal. Yeah,
it's very nice.
Right on.
Let's jump into this mead.
Okay.
What do you think?
Somebody stole my glass, so I'll just take one of these.
Danny's coming back with it, but I think there's going to be beer in it, so you might need to pour it again.
Yeah, that'll be my sidecar.
Yeah, I need one too, by the way, please.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
And so we'll do it a little backwards, I think. We'll judge the mead right now, and then we'll talk to Jimmy about how long he's been making mead, what he did with this, and all the kind of good stuff that we like to talk about here.
Very good. Okay.
So what is this again? It's a melomel.
It's a melomel, yeah.
Which is
what's a fruit mead.
A fruit
mead other than grapes.
All right.
Actually, there's some further categories where they break out stone fruit mead or berry mead. So it's not stone fruit, not berry, not grapes. Whatever's left, that's what you get.
This is a mixed fruit mead, so yeah.
Okay.
And there's also Sizer out there. There's another one with apples, so there's some specific fruits, but melomel is kind of the catch-all. So if you have a mead doesn't fit any of the other descriptions, then you jam it in this category. So
okay, kind of a catch-all.
It is, yeah.
Okay, all right.
Whatever, kumquats, whatever you want to throw in there.
Well, and so this
Can you say that on the air?
I think so.
It's the internet. We can talk about fruits all day long.
Yeah, you can curse all you want. Yeah, that's good.
Department of Agriculture, it's all good. So this is raspberry and rhubarb. That's a great light pink color, man.
Rhubarb,
look at that.
Yeah,
that's beautiful.
I remember having rhubarb pie. And growing up, my mom would make some fun stuff there with that. It was just growing in the yard here in Minnesota. We don't have so much of it out in California, but
right.
It's kind of a Midwestern thing, There's a lot of it out here. You just find it growing randomly sometimes.
I think some people will pay you to take it away. Actually,
oh yeah,
this time of year.
Get rid of that stuff. It's big, broad leaves, and
Gee, it's like mint. It just doesn't go away.
That's
everywhere.
Right.
Just invasive thing. Yeah.
Well, all right, Brian. Why don't you go, and then we'll have the professional go after you. Which
I'm getting paid. This is great. Nobody told me that.
Don't go too far yet. Yeah.
Very cool.
We'll buy him a hamburger.
All right.
The style is a melomel. It's a raspberry and rhubarb is the ingredients. Had an unknown honey. We'll talk to Jimmy about his honey source in a little while, but it's a still carbonation level with medium sweetness and standard strength. So there's a tiny bit left there if anyone wants to pour a tiny bit and taste along. Just pour a little splash and there you go. It's the only chance you get to do that. Had a light little hiss when we cracked it, actually, and the fill was slightly high. So I happened to know it was kegged, had a little pressure on it, so it got a little carbonation in there, too. But it is declared as still. But it is pretty much still. It's got some light bubbles coming off. You could almost say this is petulant. But we'll get there.
Not petulant.
No, not petulant.
Okay.
Jimmy's petulant. Mead is petulant.
It has a nice honey quality up front. It's got it seems pretty floral, like a wildflower honey, a little bit of wood-like, and there's some fruitiness in here too that kind of plays off everything else.
Yeah, would you call it earthy? That wood-like character? Is that earthy?
Like kind of in the background.
Look at that! I'm becoming a Mead Judge.
Honey has so many different flavors in it. You can get almost anything out of it.
Yeah.
The alcohol is, I'd say, medium, and it's pretty smooth. There's some light fruity esters in here. The raspberry is kind of medium-low, and the rhubarb is actually pretty low in there. It's kind of begging to come out, but I think the raspberry is expressing itself okay. You can definitely get that. It blends well, though. I think the fruit is blending pretty harmoniously. Just a light fruitiness to it, and very pleasant. Kind of, it's got a little sweetness in the smell. It's kind of nice. So the color is really cool. I like this kind of pinkish orange color to the
I called it peach.
Yeah, it's kind of a peach color. Good clarity, but not perfect. There's some minor haze to it, but overall it's pretty clear.
I'll tell you, it looks like a rosé, and that's really that's my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
Pink wine,
rosé colored.
Don't worry about it.
That's the color.
I got you covered.
It's it appears there's some bubbles, so it's not completely still, but it's overall, it doesn't have a head of foam pouring on when you dump it in there. But flavor wise, I got a nice floral honey in there, expressing itself alongside the fruit. It feels kind of medium bodied. That's some nice richness to the flavors overall. The blending of the honey and the fruit there. It's kind of medium sweet as declared. The sweetness level is right where he said. I get a slightly sharp, tangy quality to this one. It's pleasant. It's really not too biting, but there is some definite acidity to this one. It's sharp, and maybe from that rhubarb we were talking about, where that might have come from. Maybe from the raspberries and everything else in there. But
a tang, you said.
A little tanginess to it, a little sharp, a
little bite,
sharpness, acidity.
Is that different from like a sour? Because doesn't rhubarb kind of have a sourness thing to it?
It's the same kind of acidity that you get in a sour beer. And Jimmy was saying they had a sour mead in one of the talks earlier. Which
I would call rhubarb more tart than sour.
More tart than sour.
Separate those two out.
Yeah, it's not like a sour beer sourness. It's just getting towards kind of tart there and bright. The alcohol warms. It's pretty evident. There's some definite alcohol in there, but it still expresses itself as a standard mead, I'd say. Maybe getting towards the heavier side of that, but that's fine. It's still a nice light fruit in there, but kind of indistinct. You get a little bit of the raspberry and just a hint of the rhubarb, but boy, sometimes it takes a lot of fruit to get to those Kurt Stock meads that just blow you away with that mind-numbing fruitiness.
Tongue-numbing.
Mm-hmm. Overall, I thought it's a real pleasant drinking mead. Some nice fruit character, albeit a little bit light, balanced by some pretty heavy acidity in there. The alcohol is there too. I would kind of dial back those, maybe the alcohol sharpness a little bit and the acidity sharpness a little bit, and that fruit's going to shine through a little more. But also, I would just add more of each fruit, I would say, especially the rhubarb to get a better overall balance and have it just pop with that fruit. Like, okay, there's the raspberry, there's the rhubarb popping alongside, and still, not to the point where it just buries any honey flavor, but you get a little fuller, better fruit flavor in there. So
you would do that instead of anything. You would just add more fruit to it instead of making any other changes.
You can also pull back the acidity a little bit, but
right.
We'll talk to Jimmy about whether he did any acid adjustments or anything here.
Okay.
But you could also improve the clarity, which is an easy fix. I would have given him a couple more points. Getting rid of the haze. There's a light haze in there.
A slight haze. Okay, yeah.
There's just do some findings in there. Some isinglass or some
I didn't think you could
super clear. I think
gelatin, super clear. That's a good one. Yeah.
I didn't think you can find mead for some reason. For some reason, I thought it was like you would strip, because it can be much more delicate than a beer.
Super clear works great, and it does. For my money, it doesn't take a whole lot away from the product, the final product. And it's 2 days. It's just dropped crystal.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've never had one that did not clear. Reputedly, there's some friends of mine who said they have had a mead that did not drop clear with super clear, but it works great. Do we get paid by super clear? I would like some free super clear.
Yeah.
We will after this.
I used to use some Sparkaloid too back when, but yeah, it's kind of
okay. All right. It's a little clarification.
A lot of different ways to do it. Read up. Yeah. But I gave it a 34. I thought it was a really nice, very good, in the very good style. It's just some minor tweaks that it needs here, but yeah.
Now, because he's your brother, did you go higher or lower than you normally would?
Just automatic, a couple points because it's Jimmy.
Lower or higher? Higher.
Okay. No. It's
right.
not like you can beat
You're a
me
good
up.
brother.
I used to throw him in the snowbank every once in a while, but
This will taste good over snow, probably. Really.
Yeah,
And winter is coming, so
In case you haven't
melomel
heard.
snow cone. Yeah.
In case you're blind, you can't figure it out.
Yeah.
All right, Al, let's talk to you about this mead.
well, he stole all my lines.
Uh-oh.
Now he did. I'm looking at his score sheet here, and he should probably retake the BJCP test and up his. This is a fabulous score sheet. Very well filled out. So
Look at
good
you.
job.
Well, you can barely read it.
Yeah,
but
hard to
there's
read.
that.
Well, there's that, but
I can read it.
presumably, if you're writing for a competition, you'd be a little more, Al Boyce-like.
That's
But,
very. It looks like it came off a printing press.
That's right.
I'll tell you
That's
that.
my goal.
Yeah.
No, I think we agreed on almost all points. I gave it a 32 because I'm not his brother. But otherwise, it was really nice.
Okay.
I agreed with him about the acidity. I think that was the primary thing that kept it from a higher score from me. It did bite me back a little bit. Also got a little vegetal character, which I presume was from the rhubarb. Brian and I were talking about there's a bunch of ways to prepare rhubarb, and you can talk to Jimmy about how he did it, but get more fruitiness, from the rhubarb if you prepare it a certain way. So I presume that's what the vegetable was from. It was very slight. I did not get a lot of rhubarb flavor. So if I were making a suggestion, I'd just say enter it as a raspberry melomel. And just forget the rhubarb. I mean, if you're trying to win in a competition, the judges are looking for rhubarb.
If you state it, it has to be clear.
You go looking for it, and you get dinged off if you say, and it's a common mistake with a lot of newbie mead makers in competitions. They say, this is a raspberry, rhubarb, clove, cinnamon, blah, 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 blah. And now all of a sudden as a judge, I have to go looking for all that stuff,
Okay.
There's a lot of people, and it's totally legal to just say, this is a mixed berry melomel without stating what the berries are. Now my job is a lot easier. I just go, is this nice? Berry-wise, it's got berry flavors. I taste berries.
Okay.
I don't know which, and he didn't tell me, so I'm off the hook.
And it doesn't matter so much if you see what I mean. To me, and if you call out the fruits that you have, that should mean that you're good at using those fruits, and that you can have them separated and whatever. But to have it mixed does kind of seem like a little cheatery.
Well,
if I'm being honest,
it all depends on one of your future coming up guests, Walt, here will tell you that it's what you taste. I mean, it's not what you made; it's
right.
what you perceive.
Okay.
And so that's how you want to enter it. Do I perceive rhubarb? No, then don't enter it as rhubarb.
Even if it's your main ingredient or whatever.
Even if rhubarb's in there, say it's raspberry. It's a raspberry melomel in this case. But yeah, mixed berries. If I can taste raspberries and cherries and blueberries, then and I can distinguish between all of those, by all means enter it that way.
Okay.
But if you go like, wow, this is just a really nice blend, berry mead is fine.
Okay. All right. How do you approach a mead, like when you're judging a mead? Because we talk about beer all the time on the show.
I usually sit down,
yeah,
fill my glass. That's how I approach it.
Okay, that's pretty good. I back into it, and maybe that's why I'm a terrible mead judge.
I've had bad spill accidents that way, and you don't want to go there. So,
because we have a little bit of a different vocabulary. We have bouquet / aroma. Where on the beer side, it's just aroma. But so when you're sipping a mead, when you're smelling it, do you approach it any differently than a beer, or you just kind of swirl in the glass and see what you smell, and it's basically just the same? I honestly have no idea.
You're looking for different things, but the approach is basically the same, I think.
Okay.
Obviously, it's a mead, so you're looking for honey representation.
Yeah.
I think a big failure of some mead judges is to say, oh, I've got to specifically taste honey. Well, we taste this. It tastes mostly like raspberry.
Yeah.
It's obvious there's honey in it.
Sure.
So,
yeah.
So is it a lovely blend? Then you're looking for that. So.
Okay. I entered a mead once I used a watermelon flower honey, but I omitted the word flower because I didn't think about it because when I used to work at Homebrew,
different product, right?
Yeah. Well, and it was we just called it watermelon honey, and the flower was implied. So when I entered it as a watermelon honey, and all the feedback I got was I don't taste any watermelon, and I'm like, meat judges are dumb. But I didn't realize at the time, like, you need to specify if it's a varietal of a honey. Be very clear.
I want to take this opportunity right now to apologize for you because I think with that score sheet.
Yeah, thank you.
Sorry
you probably
about
did.
that.
I have it at home. Actually, I just carry it with me everywhere.
Right. Well, now that you know it's mine, you can have it framed. And
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. All right, Jimmy, let's talk to you, my friend. How you doing?
Doing good. Good to be here.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for bringing this mead.
Yeah,
it's very good.
Excellent.
How long have you do meads primarily, or are you kind of cross the streams every now and then?
Currently, I do about one mead a year, so I'm very slow.
Okay.
So,
how long have you been doing it?
Well, when did I start? Probably 2007 or so. It's hard. I didn't put a date on the calendar for that.
You should.
I could look on my notes, but somewhere back there in the archives. Yeah, probably 2007-ish.
Okay.
But not obsessively, just doing a little bit here.
Something. I think a lot of homebrewers do that.
Brian could speak to that. He started me on it. The first year we made that double, we made it in my backyard. Was that 2010, wasn't it? I think it was 2010. I think it was the last NHC. Yeah. Okay,
cool.
I would say 2010. So
see, you need to jog the brain a little bit. It's fine.
Yeah, he's better with this stuff than me.
That's fine.
Names, dates, what?
That's all right. That's all right. So when you talk about
not better.
So when you talk about the honey, what kind of honey did you use with this?
I've used a lot of different honey, but for this one, I just kind of did it the lazy way. It was good honey. I enjoyed the honey. I get it at my local co-op in Duluth.
Okay.
And it's Squaw Lake honey, so whatever that means. I would.
Is it a field blend, probably just a wildflower honey?
Yeah, I would assume it's a wildflower.
Okay.
But I've used other, orange blossom things. But for this particular one, it was just what was available, like 2 miles from my house, and then I went back and had time to do it.
Perfect. And then, so how did you add the fruits?
Well, first, I froze the raspberries and the rhubarb. I chopped up the rhubarb and the raspberries, and I froze those for, a number of days. Just threw it in the freezer until I had time to deal with it.
That's a good thing to do to kind of break open the cells inside the fruit and help it express itself.
Yeah. So then, I let those thaw out for the better part of a day as much as they could, and I added it right in the, into the must. So.
Okay. Just right.
Yeah. I kind of honey and fruit, and then water after that. So.
Okay. How much did you make out of this, and then how much fruit per your batch size?
So I filled it up to 7 gallons. I used 1.5 gallons of honey, 12 pounds of raspberry, and 6 pounds of rhubarb.
Wow. Okay.
I thought it was a lot.
Yeah.
Then I talked to Schramm, and he's like, "That's all."
Ken Schramm, the mead guy, right?
I was really ramping it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Steve Piotz was saying the same thing too.
Yeah. No, Steve Piotz. Yeah.
He wouldn't know anything.
Anyway, that guy.
Oh, you're getting heckled already. Look at this.
Yeah.
He only wrote the book. Whatever.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions on the feedback that these guys gave you? I mean, your brother, who cares? But
really.
But do you have any questions for Al?
That was really nice of him. I mean, he used to just beat me up when we were little kids, but that was pretty nice of you, Brian. I appreciate that.
I didn't do it.
Anyways,
I threw him at something soft like a snowbank most of the time. Yeah.
Well, you're a good dude.
One thing I would have liked to get is a little more tartness from the rhubarb in there. So I was going for that, and it was not there. So I would like to have an estimation of how much rhubarb you might add to a batch.
Well, it's funny because, the tartness from the rhubarb was there, but
that's what we were talking about.
The rhubarb quality itself, it was in a talk too. Like different parts of the year, the fruit will express itself differently. I think it'll have a little more fruit flavor, a little more rhubarb flavor earlier in the season. They were talking about in one of the talks here too.
Okay.
And then later in the season, that kind of fades out a little bit, and you just kind of get more generic. So I don't know how late if you really let it ripen until it was almost done, or if you pulled it early.
Yeah, I brewed this in September, so
it was kind of a late season rhubarb.
Yeah, and I had the rhubarb in my freezer for a while. So,
what's the rhubarb season for Minnesotans?
September is when the snow starts.
When's the rhubarb festival? That's just all I want to know.
That's more of a summertime thing, but I know my dad's got tons of rhubarb going already, so the rhubarb season is apparently now.
Okay.
Looking in his backyard, he's got a ton. I would have picked it and thought about brewing, but too busy right now, so.
Sounds like you should make this now.
I'll have to put it off until September again.
Oh, man.
Well, you're going to get a low score.
Yeah, on down.
Okay, anything else? Any specifics that you want to talk about how to tweak this out?
I don't know. I think I'm ambitious to go with more raspberry at this point. So,
you wanted raspberry over rhubarb.
Raspberry over rhubarb, but
Okay.
I want the rhubarb presence in there a little more. I think would be what I'd like to go for.
So what your brother was saying, you can either dial back some of the honey or just add more fruit. Do you know what you're going to do?
I think it depends. I like to pick the raspberries. I sat out there for hours picking them, so there's a nice farm right local, so I don't mind that. I think I'd up the fruit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why not?
I honestly don't know where this wound up. I didn't
Alcohol-wise?
take a reading at the end of it.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know.
Well, never sacrifice alcohol for fruit. When you can add more fruit, why wouldn't you do that?
Oh, hell yeah.
So I encourage you to do that.
Did you talk about adjustments or anything, acidity adjustments?
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's another thing I was going to that's something I have not done, though. I didn't add anything to this one. It was just the fruit and the rhubarb. And
Yeah, you got a lot of acidity out of the rhubarb there,
Yeah.
and the raspberries are pretty acidic, too.
Yeah.
But I'm liking that it didn't have a lot of kind of seedy, pithy character. Like, it was nice. The raspberry character is nice, and what you used is good fruit, it seems like.
Yep.
Fresh from the ground there.
I am kind of curious a little bit more about the process. I mean, I'm still kind of newish and, doing it on my own, but as far as, I don't know if some people use big mesh bags to add the fruit and stuff. I don't. I just add it in directly
to the fermenter.
Okay.
And do you punch it down at all when you're?
Yeah, I have a wine whip,
Yeah.
and every day, especially initially with the nutrient additions, it builds up that cap. And
with it in primer, you get it blended in there pretty well with the wine whip method and all that. That's kind of a good way to go.
Yeah.
It breaks up the fruit, exposes all those nice fruity flavors.
Yeah, cool. But I'm ambitious to add more fruit and maybe, if it needs it, adjust it with, adding acids and stuff. So, got a lot to learn.
Sounds good.
Just having fun.
Well, it's a great mead. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. All right, let's take a break, and we're going to come back, and we're going to talk with Walt, who has an American brown ale brewed with rice. Is that correct, Brian?
Minnesota wild rice.
Wild rice. All right. It's Dr. Homebrew, everyone. Hang on. We'll be right back.
Guess what, homebrewers? The Homebrew Label Awards are back. Submit your artwork at HomebrewLabelAwards.com and let your homebrewing peers shower you with votes. The labels with the most votes can win fabulous prizes. Pretty easy, huh? This year, we're giving out over $5,000 worth of awards to the winners. So head on over to HomebrewLabelAwards.com and enter for your chance to win. No labels? No problem. You can check out all the cool labels being submitted and cast your vote on your favorite ones. Help your fellow homebrewers achieve fame and glory. That's HomebrewLabelAwards.com.
Hello, fellow BNers. This is Sully from the 21st Amendment Brewery located in San Francisco, just 2 blocks from Giants Park. Before Nico and I opened the 21A and before I was a professional brewer, I homebrewed on my small 4-burner apartment stove in a back house in Santa Monica, California, making my extract brews before graduating to the daunting idea of all-grain brewing. Homebrew books and information was hard to come by back then. The internet hadn't been invented yet, along with other things we take for granted today, like electricity and potable water. One thing I wish I had back then when I was learning was a radio show that could teach me the ins and outs of brewing and answer questions that I had about homebrewing, a resource for making great craft beer. The 21st Amendment Brewery is excited to be a proud sponsor of Dr. Homebrew, a great show that teaches you what you need to know about making incredible beer. Good stuff. Listen up, you might learn something. I certainly did. And thanks for your support. Tasty Crack Kings.
Have you seen what the free Brew Guru app can do for you? Built for homebrewers and beer lovers, Brew Guru delivers sage brewing knowledge and money-saving deals at breweries, beer bars, and homebrew supply shops. The American Homebrewers Association designed this powerful mobile app to help homebrewers and craft beer lovers explore the wide world of beer we all share. With Brew Guru, you can find deals and save money on beer, food, and brewing supplies. Level up your brew IQ with hand-picked articles, proven recipes, and trusted resources from the American Homebrewers Association and Zymergy Magazine. And use the brewery locator to find nearby breweries, tap rooms, beer bars, homebrew supply shops, and brew pubs. Wherever you are, Brew Guru will lead you to good beer. Get the app today and follow the path to beery enlightenment. It's free for iPhone, iPad, and Android devices. Learn more at homebrewersassociation.org.
Since the first time the Brewing Network microphones turned on, More Beer was behind it. More Beer sponsors the programming on the BN because, like you, they love brewing. And like the Brewing Network, they love sharing their knowledge. Morebeer.com isn't just a website to place your next equipment or ingredient order. Morebeer.com also gives you access to free beer information that will make you a better brewer. Go to morebeer.com and click into the Learning Center. You'll find podcasts, technical facts, video tutorials, and more, including access to The Buzz, More Beer's social network of more than 5,000 members. And some of them might even be crazier about beer than you are. Get over to morebeer.com today and take advantage of The Buzz, the forum, the Learning Center, and make sure you're signed up to receive the newest More Beer catalog. More Beer, bringing you absolutely everything for beer making.
Are you a member of the White Labs Customer Club? If not, you should be. It's the easiest way to earn free stuff for turning in your old homebrew labels from either Vials or Pure Pitch. All you have to do is save your labels and redeem them for things like free yeast, an exclusive White Labs t-shirt or sweatshirt, and even the opportunity to brew with the yeast man himself, Chris White. Signing up is easy. Just go to whitelabs.com/customer club, fill out the registration form, and then mail in your labels. They will return the favor by sending you awesome White Labs swag. Go sign up today at whitelabs.com/customer club. White Labs, pure yeast and fermentation since 1995.
Do you know the 3 most important rules in brewing? Sanitation, sanitation, and sanitation. And no one does it better than 5-Star Chemicals. 5-Star knows sanitation. You can only sanitize clean equipment. And 5-Star knows how to clean, too. For craft brewers and home brewers, 5-Star has what you need to keep your fermenters, serving tanks, kegs, and draft lines sparkling and free of any beer-spoiling bacteria. PBW, caustic, acid cleaners, Star Sand, SaniClean, lubricants and defoamers, pH stabilizers, and more. 5-Star Chemicals has cleaning supplies, safety supplies, heat exchangers, pumps, hoses, and valves. And 5-Star is proud to offer eco-friendly products that exceed customer expectations. If you have a cleaning problem, you need the 5-Star solution. Visit 5starchemicals.com or call 800-782-7019. 800-782-7019 and get the 5-Star treatment today.
Now count backwards from 100. 99, 98, that's it. 97, 96, 95.
Now back to Dr. Homebrew.
All right, everyone. Thanks for hanging with us. We are live at HomebrewCon 2017. And we're drinking beers.
It's good to be here, man.
It is good to be here.
Back in Minnesota again. I remember 2010. That was a great year.
You mean 2010?
Oh, sorry.
Come on. Yeah. We're on this whole elongated, speech thing.
I just remember learning a lot about mead and other things.
Are you a big mead brewer?
I do make some meads, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I do make a few.
Was that cool? We just had your brother on the last segment. Was that cool?
I got a silver medal in 2011, I think it was.
You don't care about your brother. You're just talking about your fucking
Brother
silver
Jimmy,
medals.
Whatever.
He's gone now. You don't care about him.
I taught him everything.
He went to get him a hot dog.
He's off getting me a hot dog.
It's a good You trained him well. Throwing him in the snowbank for 20 years or whatever pays off in the end, in the long run. All you siblings out there, abuse your little brother or sister. They'll get you a hot dog one day.
Oh yeah, we get along better now than we ever did. I think he's still hard-headed, but I have mental ways of putting him in his place now rather than physical. So it's better.
Yeah, don't work harder, work smarter on your little brother.
Yes,
gotcha. All right. Well, we're sitting here with Walt. Walt, what club are you from, man?
I'm with the Northern Ale Stars out of Duluth, Minnesota.
Okay, perfect. And what beer did you have for us?
I brought a Native American Brown. It's the base style is a American Brown with wild rice.
Okay.
I don't enter it as a specialty beer. I just have it in as a 19C just to get your feedback on it. I know there's now new styles of IPA brown, specialty IPA brown, so maybe some feedback on whether maybe that's how to enter it. I haven't entered into anything, so some feedback would be great.
Okay, perfect. Before the show, we were judging this, so since Keith isn't here, you have me as a second judge, which, hold your applause. But actually, if you wouldn't mind passing me that sheet, yeah, thank you very much. So I don't know how useful I'm going to be for you, Walt, but that's why I have Brian here, who's a master.
Perfect.
And we'll go from there.
Do you want to taste some of it?
I did taste some, but yes, if you wouldn't mind opening it, so we can all have a sample, and then everyone else here can have some too, possibly. But you got 3 bottles, and I appreciate you bringing enough beer.
Yeah,
that's the key.
Can we share a few out here?
No, they don't look thirsty enough. I'm sorry. They just really
guys.
don't. Yeah, please. Anybody who wants some can definitely have some. As you can see, I did a very good job filling out the sheet. It's very thorough, and it's not yet even completed yet, but that's fine. We do what we can around here. All right, Brian, why don't you go ahead and tell Walt everything he needs to know, and then cover it for me, too, so I can just agree with you and go, wow, that is stellar.
Yeah, I think when we first poured his beer, it was pretty cold, and it wasn't really pushing out a lot of aromas.
I have to say that it is better when it warms up.
Yeah, I'm noticing that about it for sure. It was light, but there was a pleasant chocolatiness to it. That was definitely evident. No obvious hop, but as it warms up, I think I get a faint little kind of earthy hop underneath there. It was clean, no diacetyl, acetaldehyde, DMS, anything like that. I do feel like I get a light kind of greeniness in the background there. Possibly from that wild rice addition. We'll have to talk about how much goes into that as well.
Yeah.
The fruity esters are pretty restrained. There's only a hint of fruitiness there. It seems pretty light. There's not much alcohol here. It's just smooth and light. It gets a little richer as it warms. The color is really nice. It's a rich brown color. It appears to be nicely clear. Kind of see through the corners there. It
really is. It's a great color brown too. Yeah, like caramel edges,
kind of reddish highlights in there, dark reddish mahogany highlights. Yeah, had a light tan head that started pretty low, but it actually stuck around pretty nicely. I found the head persisted well. Flavor-wise, pleasant sweet maltiness comes in right away there, but not too sweet. And that's kind of the key to what I think the wild rice is doing here. It's dialing that back a little bit. There's notes of kind of caramel, treacle, a little grainy, and then kind of a medium chocolatey, a little more in the forefront. But definitely balance to the malt. There's not a lot of hop here. Cleanly fermented. Again, light chocolate and a little bit of kind of a light, very light roasty edge to it, but not anything sharp or biting or acrid at all. It's just a little hint of some roastiness, but it doesn't go anywhere near porter-like or anything like that. I find it to be really refreshing for a brown ale. It's definitely it seems to be on the lighter end of the style, and there's no flaws, and it's there's nothing swimming in there that's making it taste odd. I'm not getting any buttery, any sharp, any green apple.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, the alcohol's smooth. It's nice and drinkable, and it's very quaffable. So that kind of goes into the body. It's medium light bodied. The carbonation is up there at medium, and I'm not getting any alcohol warmth. It is slightly creamy, smooth. I'm not getting any astringency in it, but it's also at the same time kind of crisp, like a lighter beer would be to me, and refreshing. Just it quenches your thirst a little bit. I think that some of that is coming from the wild rice. It's kind of dialing back the body a little bit, dialing back the finish is a little drier with the wild rice in there, and just dries off your tongue and you want another sip. Really thought it was a very pleasant drinking American brown ale with a lot going for it. The wild rice expresses itself nicely, and the base style comes through nicely. The wild rice just pretty much giving a light grainy quality on the back of the tongue in the finish, and then in the aroma, a little grainy edge to it, something that you don't expect in an American brown. So it's like, and for it to kind of stick through like that, to me, is kind of amazing, I think. But it just works to make the balance very nice, a very refreshing beer. A little, what would I do to adjust this beer? I'm kind of, understanding it the way I do. I think that it's very nice the way it is. It's got a clean, dry finish, and it's refreshing. Usually my browns, I do like a little more sweetness, so maybe you could find a way to put a little more of the impression of sweetness in there, maybe with some other medium colored malt additions of different kinds that you might experiment with. Do some, something interesting, some dark Munich or some lighter caramel in there to kind of round out the middle part of it. It's like mostly chocolate and a little roasty edge, and then it just dries out. It's like, overall I thought it was great. I give it a 38, and I thought it was a very pleasant beer.
Thank you. Pretty much, I have exactly what Brian has. Actually, if you put our score sheets together, they're pretty much the same.
They look exactly the same.
I mean, pretty much distilled down, but pretty good.
Similar.
JP's has like pictures of
here's a donkey
right
here. There's a donkey. A three-legged donkey, which is even worse. So I haven't officially judged a beer in probably 5 years. So I apologize to you, Walt. But you got a donkey. I don't know.
Is that a good thing?
Sure.
Well, sure.
Do you like donkeys?
Yeah, sure.
That's a great thing, man. You did great. If you hated him, probably jump over this table. I'm just kind of going to pick apart what Brian said and kind of jump in on something he said. You're talking about alcohol. To me, it's a very warm alcohol sensation. Like when you swallow it, not really in the mouth, but you give it a couple seconds and you can really get it coming down.
7.2.
Wow.
Okay. You got more warming than I did.
I totally did. Yeah, and you said there was none.
And
I don't
agree with that. There is some.
Okay.
I get the warming in the back end of it. I mean, there's some dryness, but I think the alcohol kind of dries it out too. I mean, I kind of get the wild rice flavor in the back end of it. I mean, I think it kind of starts out pretty balanced, but
I agree. Yeah, I agree. I had a nice sweet malt aroma, kind of a low medium hop, in the aroma. You had a nice brown appearance, like Brian said, little ruby highlights, little caramel highlights in there too.
Because actually, it's fairly young, and it was cold. I mean, to me, it almost had like a chill haze to it. But after it sat, it has warmed up and cooled down again. I think it looked, in clarity, it looks better. But
I think it looks pretty good. Yeah.
It was pretty hazy.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good that it kind of clears up there. I said in flavor had a pleasant sweetness, some words I can't read, nutty, toasty quality, and then I tried to make up my own vocabulary, right, which is kind of what we encourage you to do. Like an overcooked biscuit.
Overcooked biscuit. Okay.
Sometimes you go to KFC or Popeyes. I mean, if you're feeling really good, if you have
if you got the microwave and you hit dinner plate and you got a biscuit in it, no,
right.
that's too much.
No, that's too much. Like if you got like a Raise and you want to go, hey, let's get fried chicken, not KFC, let's do Popeyes. Like that's the level up. And you get that one biscuit that's darker,
sitting in but in the bin for hours.
So not like.
But do you like that biscuit?
Yes.
All right.
Of course. Who does? But you know what I mean. It's not like the toasty bready that we kind of always say, but it's just more of, I don't know, like almost an overdone biscuit. I liked it. I like that flavor, and I wonder if it's that rice addition. So what did you do with the rice? Explain to me about the rice thing.
Actually, I do a cereal mash. I do the rice actually the night before, and I start with like a half pound of 2-row. I do a protein rest on it, and then I start like 2 gallons of water and add the rice to it. So it's kind of, you're trying to get the rice up to 150. And then you bring the two together. So then I do a cereal mash with the rice, and usually that takes extra time, so I do it the night before. And sometimes I dump it into a cooler or whatever, so it doesn't lose a lot of temperature. Or just wrap it in some blankets in the kettle. So then the next day I just add the rice addition to the main mash. So it's a cereal mash with the wild rice up front, usually the night before.
Okay.
And did you take the wild rice and kind of grind it up?
No, I usually typically I get the cheap crap from the holiday store that's already broken. It used to be cheap. Now it's like $17.99 for 3 pounds.
For broken rice?
It's just the cheap stuff. But although this time it was from someone in the Homebrew Club, so I'm not sure what quality it was. I believe they work in some kind of lab and use it, so I actually got a bunch of free wild rice.
Lab rice.
Yeah,
that's
not lab mice, but lab rice.
Yeah, I don't know which is worse. Was it glowing in the dark?
I didn't appear to be.
Okay, all right.
That's good.
So I was having a hard time getting the rice because I've never had a beer like this, and in my mind, for the flavors that the brown ale is kicking out, maybe it was too caramel, too toasty for me to really dissect and get those rice flavors. So first of all, have you made this beer before?
I've made it, yeah.
Okay.
At least 6 other times.
What kind of flavors do you get out of that rice edition?
I think at the back end, that's where I catch it. It's always on the back end of the beer. I catch it on the back end of the tongue. It's just kind of a drying,
kind of an earthy, grainy character maybe on the background.
That's where I catch it.
Have you eaten wild rice, JP?
I don't know. I can't. It's too fast. I can't catch it.
You're in
Minnesota. You gotta try some just wild cooked rice.
You really don't have to chase it. You don't actually have to even go out in a canoe and harvest it. You can just buy it, and you can order it at a restaurant.
At the gas station.
What's the fun in that? Tell that to hunters, right? So is that like a Minnesotan thing? The wild rice. Oh, yeah, it's like a hot plate, juicy, wild rice.
Yeah, you can buy wild rice just anywhere. I mean,
it's not white.
It's brownish. It's totally black.
Black colors on that. Yeah,
that's funky. Okay.
And you got to cook it a real long time. You got to boil it for like an hour to really make it pop open.
That's a hard nut to crack. Yeah.
And that's where you get.
Yeah, that's why
all the flavors and the starch, I imagine, right? Okay.
And sugars out of it. I mean, I do it the night before, so it's a step mash to it. I mean, I do a protein rest on the grain and then add it to the wild rice and then bring that up and actually boil it for like an hour or half an hour.
Right.
So to make it really swell up and crack open, you got to boil it for close to an hour.
For a long time.
Yeah.
So that's nothing in a 7-8 hour brew day. I mean, who cares?
Well, that's why I do it the night before, so I don't have to deal with that. I mean, it's already basically converted by the time I add it to the mash.
Okay.
So, it makes the brew day a little bit shorter. But I typically do a 9-minute boil on it.
Just to make sure that everything's...
Well, typically in beers, darker beers, I usually go no longer.
Why is that? Caramelization?
Just to get the caramelization. That's what you're saying, the caramelization, that little flavor to it.
It's great. And, in a lot of browns, you can kind of get that flavor from, the grain, but I think it's easily identifiable. Oh, you used, probably a higher Lovibond crystal malt or whatever, but there is kind of a nuance, like a deeper, level to that caramelization.
Yeah, you get the Melodeon type caramelization from just longer boil.
Yeah. I would have given it a 37.
Okay, there you go. Yeah,
that's respectable.
That's nice and rich for such a light beer. It's very pleasant tasting. I think the balance is nice.
For me, it's a little lighter in the palate than I would have wanted. Like it's a little thinner. But then again, I'm an idiot, so I don't really know what that word means. Palate. I don't know what that means. I'm guessing the shipping.
When you mention things like red IPA and stuff, I wouldn't enter it over there. It's far. No. It's not hoppy enough. And we're coming from the West Coast here,
because like I say, I've entered this as just American brown before, and I don't declare wild rice in it, so you don't have to. If I don't declare it, you don't have to taste it. Yeah. So, I mean, I've entered it in specialty category before.
For me, it would be hard to take that rice flavor out. If I hadn't had it before, I wouldn't know. And then I think that's sometimes a fault also in judging, where if you give them an ingredient that they don't have experience with, and then you declare it, and they don't know what that.
They got to taste
assuming,
it.
Yeah, so. At least a half idiot like me, I wouldn't know, and I'd be like, well, I taste something, and you're hunting for it, and then maybe you give up and pour it out.
Right. I mean, it's we judged it as an alternative grain beer, 31A category, with a 19C American brown as the base, and I understood it perfectly well as that. I knew what the wild rice was doing to it, and I felt like I got a little bit of that essence in there, especially in the late palate. It's just, but yeah, with such a strong beer, it is hard. I made a wild rice Joyce American Pale Ale, and that was kind of nice. It played off of the Pale Ale, gave it a little kind of earthy, grainy kind of flavor on the side with it, dried out the body nicely for the Pale Ale. So you could do well to make an IPA or a Pale Ale, something along those lines with the rice declared. But I personally, for me, since I know wild rice, if you're entering a Minnesota competition, the judges here probably would as well.
They would know it too.
I would think that you'd be fine adding that
in the 19C.
Because otherwise, I say, they would say if it's just American brown, the body's a little too light. The chocolate isn't expressing itself as richly as you might want, and there's something a little different about it, and that might help kind of click the pieces into place. I don't know. That's what I say.
Okay, yeah,
I agree. There's not, that I know of, a lot of examples of wild rice beer. Like, I was talking to Al. James Page was one that used to be around. It was like a pale ale with wild rice. Actually, this was influenced by Barley John's that does a wild brunette. Which I
saw you were hitting their booth a few times last night.
Love it. So
those guys.
Okay, well, do you have any questions for me specifically? And then if not me, for Brian on how to get any tweaks or any of the feedback before we let you go?
I don't think so, but I did bring a couple of other things around if you guys want to taste or not.
Sure, yeah. Well, in the crowd here, it looks very thirsty too, so we can. What did you bring? Just out of curiosity.
I do have a Perry cider that I have my own press, so I actually have an old press cider, probably some of Jimmy's apples in it, probably too.
Nice.
So, Brother Jimmy lets people come into his yard and harvest.
He's never home. Who knows what you could do in his back? I saw some hops back there too. I was like, oh,
he doesn't know what's going on.
He's got hops growing in his backyard. He's got apples, and you could just go back there and get whatever you want.
The neighbors never say nothing either. They never even peek over the fence. So, and sometimes their apples look better. But
don't pick the hops on the right side though; those are awful.
Just wait for them to go on vacation. It'll be fine.
Good.
All right, Walt, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate you stopping by. Appreciate you bringing beer.
Thank you guys for...
I'm sure the crowd loves it, too.
Thanks for the feedback. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, and you got to twist Jimmy's arm a little more and get him out to you guys' meetings, because he's a good brewer. He's having some fun, and, listen to the next show. This was show number 99, wasn't it?
This is show number 99. I haven't decided if the next show is going to be 99A or just 100. I don't know, because, we were talking to Keith, and he's like, I'd really like to be a part of the 100th show.
Can we have Jimmy on that show, too?
Sure.
Okay.
Why not?
Maybe play some guitar?
Maybe. We'll see.
Wow.
We'll see.
All right.
I want you guys to try a pair.
We're living the dream here, yeah. We're living the dream.
All right. Well, we're going to wrap up this show live from HomebrewCon 2017. And for you guys standing around looking very thirsty, there's beer here from Walt. And then we'll be back here in a couple of minutes with some more beer and some more Dr. Homebrew.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.